Thank you, Mr. President. I recommend approval of the agenda as presented.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
I'm going to do a roll call vote. When I call your name, please state, do we do yes or no? Dr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Southern?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Motion to approve the agenda passes.
Thank you, Dr. Stoddard. The next item on the agenda is a revision to our school calendar. Before I make that recommendation, I would like to make a quick statement, if I may. Mr. President, on July
I think we lost Chad. I did.
first,
You want to start that over? I lost you for a second.
we're there?
I can hear you now.
Okay. As I was saying, you guys made a slight change to the calendar on July the 1st to give our staff more time for professional development on remote learning. We knew then that our August 10th start date was an optimistic one, but we, like most people, are eager to get our kids back in school. But we know we have to do it safely and based on guidance from health officials and even EMA. As we've all seen in the news just over the weekend, the Shoals area is currently experiencing a spike in COVID cases, and our hospitals are experiencing some challenging times right now. And of course, I've personally seen it from the inside myself. And so these things must be considered in reopening our schools. Based on information that I've received from local health officials and our EMA director this week, I believe that it's in the best interest of staff and our students to postpone the start of school until August 20th. And this will allow us, with other local superintendents, to continue monitoring the local situation and make a better determination of the safest route to reopening our schools. Everything is on the table at this point, including an in-person traditional start with students having the choice to be virtual. That's the plan that we've been pushing for weeks now. Also on the table is a completely virtual start. Also on the table is what I call a 50-50 staggered start. In our plan, we mentioned it as the 50% emergency plan, where in-person learning occurs only a few days a week for each student. We will announce what our August 20th start will look like no later than Monday, August 10th, probably sooner. We want to give everyone time to prepare for the reopening of school. But I will say this, our school start will be a slow, cautious reopening with the hopes that things look more normal in September. We will start school in August, but it will be a safe, slow, cautious reopening. We're looking at all these options, and we acknowledge that none of them are ideal for everyone. I've received emails asking for a completely virtual start. I've received emails asking for us to have in-person learning available. And as I said before, there's never been a time for cooperation and flexibility and understanding than it is right now. I've spoken with local physicians. I've spoken with local health officials. Obviously, our lead nurse has been in constant communication. I've spoken with our EMA director. And the hope is that the current spike that we're experiencing in the Shoals area will level off some by the end of August. And we're going to use these extra days to evaluate our local situation. It's important for our community to act. If a community has widespread COVID, so will our schools. And we have to control the community spread before we can safely return to normal school operations. Respecting the governor's mask order, no matter how you feel about it personally, is a community service act. Employees will still begin on Monday, August 3rd and work from their classrooms. There will be professional development going on. We will be having a virtual option orientation for those students who have chosen that option. There's just a lot to be done. And we will be adding some more remote learning days, as you'll see when you see the copy of the calendar that the board is going to approve today. The fall semester will be a little shorter than the spring. We always try to keep those balanced, but this is just not the year where that's going to be possible. And like with the last revision, there's going to be no scheduled holidays that will be lost. The remote learning days will be built in to those days as well. After today's vote, we will disseminate the revised calendar. And so with that, Mr. President, I recommend approval of the revision to the 2020-21 school calendar as presented.
Do I have a motion to approve the revision to the school calendar as presented?
Mr. President, I so move.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote. Dr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Southern,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. The motion is approved.
Thank you, Dr. Stoddard. That's all I have for the meeting today.
Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
Mr. President, I second that.
All right, roll call vote. Dr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Southern,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. The meeting